Hi, I'm Nick Steinling, and this is my watercolor tutorial. This is a companion to the tutorial that's already written at heavyprints.com. What we're going to do to start off with is make a quick ink wash. I have the supplies laid out here. We have a small dip cup. We have a bottle of Bombay Black India ink. We have a wash brush and a piece of acrylic paper. Technically, you could use whatever paper you wanted. I've just had the best luck with cold pressed paper. To set up the wash, I take about 3 drops of India ink and put into the water. We'll stir it up with the brush a little bit, and then we'll be ready to go. When I apply it to the paper, I'll use one big stroke to start off with, depending on what the shape is that I'm working in. One big stroke to start off with, and I'll do some quick short strokes downwards to give the ink somewhere to run so I can get drips. And I'll give it another heavy stroke with a lot of water on it, try to get some drips going. Once I'm happy with the way that looks, we'll add a few more strokes up here to bulk it up. And depending on what you're actually trying to color, you probably do better to try to stay true to the shape that it is. I don't have anything in particular here, so I'm just going to slap some ink around. Once this is done, you'll let it dry for 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll be ready to put it on the computer.
So now that the ink wash is dried, I have scanned it in at 300 dpi and opened it up in Photoshop. The first thing I'm going to have to do is set it to grayscale. We can do that by selecting the image menu, mode, and grayscale. It'll ask if you want to discard color information. You can just click OK. And then we're going to run a quick gradient map to adjust the color. First, I'll press the D key to set my foreground and background colors back to default. Then we'll select Image, Adjustments, and Gradient Map. Why this is important is that we're about to make a halftone out of our texture, and if Photoshop reads the background as anything other than pure white, it's going to lay small dots over it to try to make it look off-white, and it's really not going to give you a desirable result. So once you have the gradient map dialog popped open, click the gradient itself, and we're going to adjust it slightly. We'll click the white tab, and we'll bump it down just a little bit to make sure that our background is actually white, and it's going to lighten up the image slightly. So I'll push the black back down on the other side to try to even it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you're happy with the results you have from that, you'll hit OK. And then we're going to make a halftone out of it. We'll select Image, we'll select Mode, and Bitmap. Once you select Bitmap, it's going to ask if you want to flatten the layers. You can just hit OK. The resolution, if your input is 300 dots per inch, you'll want the output to also be 300 dots per inch. And the method that we're going to use is a halftone screen. Make sure you have that selected. We'll hit OK. When the halftone screen dialog pops up, you want to make sure that your frequency is not set over 45 and that your angle also is not set over 45. It depends on what your printer's capabilities are, what these settings can actually be. So if you have the ability to talk to the printer about it, you might get a better result if you work like that. We'll set the shape to round, and then we'll click OK. And when we zoom in, we'll find that we have a halftone that shows all of our grayscale values. Zooming back out, it should look fairly close to what it was before. To be able to select the actual black, which is what we want, we'll have to set the image mode back to grayscale. It'll ask size ratio. You want it 1:1. Just click OK. We'll use the magic wand tool and select the background. Shift Control I to select inverse, and then you can hit Control X to cut your pixels. If you're working on a different document, this is where you would paste it into whatever your working document was. I don't have anything else open, so I'm just going to paste it back into this. I'm going to set my image mode to red, green, blue. We're not going to flatten. And then we're going to select in the layer menu, layer style, color overlay, and this will let us color the halftone anything we want. So there you have it, watercolors in Photoshop. If used correctly, this can yield a pretty fantastic result on some of your artwork. I've used it pretty recently on one of my designs, you can see here. I like the outcome. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.